In this video, we'll look at starting and stopping services in the init.d directory. This is something that you will typically have to do on a regular basis when you make changes to certain configuration files for certain applications/services. There are times when you'll need to restart that particular service, or maybe you'll just want to check the status of a service to see if it's running on the machine. You can accomplish that and a lot of other things in the init.d directory and interact with the various services that are on your box. So what I'll do right now is I'm going to cd into the init.d directory so you can see what's in there. And I'll do an ls here, and you can see here are all the various services that are available currently installed on this machine. Now, there are quite a few of them that we use throughout the class, and many of these are high-level network services. So we have email servers in here. There's an email server. We have HTTPD, which is our web server. We have SSH and many others. And down here on the bottom we have an FTP server. That's the one I'll focus on for the lecture. So what I want to do is, first of all, check the status. I want to see if the FTP server is up and working. I have to exit out of the directory, so I'll do that by going in our third and final installment. And what I'll do is type out the full Linux boot process. We're going to the full path to the particular service you want. I'll use tab completion, and then I'll press enter so you can see the various options we have if we need to. After we also look at check config. And check config allows us to actually set a service, stop the service, either be on or off when the system starts. And I can force it to reload, or I could just check its status. So why don't we do that? I'll clear my screen. I'll up arrow, and we'll see what's going on with FTP. All right, well, you can see that FTP is running. It has a PID, and the PID is 4785. Remember, init is the initial process that starts up on the machine. From that point, everything else is a child of init. This shows us exactly where FTP is in that hierarchy. What I'll do next is stop the service. So let's go stop it. So for some reason I want to stop it. Maybe I have a little security issues I'm concerned about, and I want to fix that. I can stop the service, and we can see over there in the right-hand corner that it says that the service has stopped. If I was to do that again, I'll up arrow and hit stop again. You'll notice it comes back and says failed. It's not meaning anything bad has happened, just means it can't stop it because it's already stopped. I can up the arrow again and start it up again. And start, and we can start the service up. So this is a directory you'll see me going into a lot throughout the course to start, stop, check services all the time. Now, one thing I want you to know about this is real time. I am starting and stopping that service right now. Let's say I want the FTP server to always start up when the system reboots. Just because you start something here, just because you turn it on, if it was off and you turn it on, it does not mean it's going to survive a reboot. To do that, you have to actually enable this so that when the system starts up, this particular service is available. And there's a couple of different utilities that we can actually do that with. The one that we'll primarily use is something called check config. Now this is a particular one to the Red Hat type of distributions, but it's a very common one to see. And this allows me to start and stop various services in their run levels. And that's another key part, because remember, you have all these run levels and I can do different things in different run levels. If I press enter here, you see all the services that are started, and we see all the run levels and what's going to happen in that run level. So run level 0, run level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're comfortable with that concept now that we have these different levels we can move through. And you can also see that many of the services are either on and off in a particular run level. Let's narrow it down a little bit. So let's get out of here, Control L. And what we'll do is we'll do the check config, and we'll pipe the output through grep, and we'll look for FTP. And here you go. This is the current status of FTP. Now, if we go back in here, So it's running, but I've configured the system so that it will not start up automatically. So I'm currently in run level 5. You can see I'm currently in run level 5, and I've configured the system so that the FTP server will not start up in run level 5. But I have started it manually, right? So I've come in here and actually told it to start up after I booted into the system. Well, I want to change that, because it's no good to have this thing up and running and then the system reboots a couple of months later and we lose the FTP server. To do that, the easiest way to do it is to use the check config utility. And what we can do is we can tell the service either to start it outright, or we can tell the service to only start it in particular levels. And that's probably what we want to do, because we don't need FTP in 0, 1, we don't use 2, we're not going to use 4, 6 is we're going to reboot the system, so that's no good either. Probably the only levels we want it to start in are 3 and 5, and we can choose both of those at the same time, or we can just stick with one of them if we want. So if I just wanted one level, I could use the -- level command, and I could say I want that to start in 3, and put the actual daemon that I want to start. And that's another term you'll hear a lot. Demons, the services are demons. You got all this black magic type stuff going on here. We're killing things. We have demons floating around us. Where that comes from, legend has it, is that the true Unix gurus think of themselves as wizards, and so the demons do their service, right? Fun stuff. So I can start it here in this level if I want to, and I'll press enter, and then I'll up arrow again. We'll check on FTP, and what did I forget to do? I forgot to tell it what to do. So wonderful. Let's go back again and tell it to turn it on. You have to actually say that you want it to be either on or off in that particular level. Now let's go look at it again. All right, so here we go. Here it was originally, and here it is now. I've turned it on. If I want it to be on both in 3 and 5, all I would have to do is come over here and put 3 and 5, just like that. So that would turn it on in both those. Notice it's off here right now. I'll press enter, up arrow, grep forward again, clear my screen. It's getting a little filled up here. And there you go. We have turned it on in run levels 3 and 5. Now, maybe I don't want FTP on here at all, and I want it deleted off the system. You can do that with check config too. Now, you're not uninstalling it, you're just deleting the startup script from starting. So if we go over here, and I do an ls in here, we should be able to see that on run level 3, which is where I am right now, I'm in one of the RC script files, and I'm run level 3. There it is. There's a start script for VSFTP in run level 3. I'm going to go back over here, and this time I'm going to issue the check config command, but I'm going to pass along the del parameter. And I want it to delete VSFTP. Now I want you to watch what happens. So it's going to disappear from here. So we'll up arrow to take a look to see if it's there. Nothing comes back. Now we'll go over to the directory, and this is what is the big part. See the highlighted thing right here? I'm going to up arrow, hit the ls command again, and notice what happens. Because I deleted it with check config, its startup script was removed from the directory. So that's a really good command. Check config has a lot of parameters and power. And once again, we looked at how we can use etc init.d scripts in that directory to start and stop a service. Just before we leave, there is a command line version of this that you can use. This is, so if you don't have a GUI in front of you, or you're not really comfortable with check config, I should say, because you don't need a GUI to run check config, you can come in here and actually turn on or turn off services by pressing the space bar. And there is a nice graphical one available also that you can download called System Config Services, and when we get to Yum, we'll look at that.